The morning sun filtered through the dusty windows of the riverside animal shelter, casting long shadows across the concrete floor where Sarah Rodriguez knelt beside a small kennel. Inside, a golden retriever mix named Buddy lay motionless on his side, his beautiful amber eyes following her every movement with a mixture of hope and resignation that broke her heart into 1,000 pieces. 3 months had passed since that terrible night when Buddy was found on the side of Highway 92, his hind legs crushed by a hit-and-run driver who never stopped to look back. The veterinary bills had mounted quickly, and his previous owners made the heartbreaking decision they couldn't afford his care. Now Buddy faced each day in this shelter kennel, unable to walk, unable to run, unable to feel the grass beneath his paws or chase the butterflies he once loved so dearly. Sarah had been working at Riverside Animal Shelter for 8 years, but she had never encountered a case that affected her quite like Buddy's. Every morning when she arrived for work, she would find him in the exact same position, watching the door with those hopeful eyes, his tail managing only the faintest wag when she approached. The other volunteers often whispered that it might be kinder to let him go, that no one would ever want to adopt a paralyzed dog, that he was suffering needlessly in this small space. But Sarah saw something different in Buddy's eyes. She saw a fighter, a soul that refused to give up despite everything life had taken from him. More importantly, she saw how he affected everyone who met him. Children would press their faces against his kennel, drawn by his gentle nature and patient demeanor. Other dogs seemed calmer in his presence, as if they understood his struggle and respected his quiet dignity. The real challenge came during bath time. Buddy couldn't stand in the wash station like the other dogs, couldn't shake off the water or move around to help with the cleaning process. The first few times Sarah attempted to bathe him, it was clumsy and stressful for both of them. Buddy would whimper softly, not from pain but from the obvious discomfort and embarrassment of being so helpless. Sarah found herself crying more than once as she struggled to clean him properly while maintaining his dignity. But Sarah was determined to find a better way. She spent her own money on a special waterproof mat and cushioning materials to make Buddy more comfortable. She researched techniques used in animal physical therapy, watching countless videos and reading articles about caring for paralyzed pets. Slowly, she developed a routine that transformed what had been a source of stress into something beautiful and healing. Every Tuesday and Friday, Sarah would arrive at the shelter an hour early for Buddy's special bath time. She would start by laying out the soft, waterproof cushions in the wash station, creating a comfortable bed that supported his body perfectly. Then she would gently carry Buddy from his kennel, speaking to him in soothing tones about their day ahead, about the weather outside, about anything that came to mind. Her voice seemed to calm him instantly. The transformation was remarkable. As Sarah developed her technique, bath time became less about the necessity of cleanliness and more about connection, comfort, and love. She would massage his shoulders and neck as the warm water flowed over him, and Buddy would close his eyes in contentment, finally able to relax completely. His tail, which rarely moved throughout the day, would thump gently against the cushions as if he was remembering what it felt like to be truly happy. Other staff members began to notice the change in both Sarah and Buddy. Dr. Martinez, the shelter's veterinarian, often found excuses to walk by during bath time, touched by the gentleness and patience Sarah showed. The other volunteers started asking if they could help, wanting to learn her techniques and be part of something so clearly meaningful. But it was during one particular Friday morning that everything changed. Sarah was in the middle of Buddy's bath routine when she heard unfamiliar voices approaching. A family had arrived early for their appointment to look at adoptable dogs. The parents, Jake and Michelle Thompson, were walking with their 10-year-old daughter Emma, who had been asking for a dog for months. Emma stopped dead in her tracks when she saw Sarah bathing Buddy. Instead of the quick, efficient cleaning she might have expected, she witnessed something that looked like pure love in action. Sarah was speaking softly to Buddy, carefully supporting his body while using a gentle touch that seemed to communicate volumes. Buddy's eyes were half closed in contentment, and despite his obvious disability, there was something peaceful and beautiful about the entire scene. What happened next surprised everyone, including Sarah. Emma walked closer to the wash station and asked quietly if she could help. Without hesitation, Sarah handed her a soft towel and showed her how to gently dry Buddy's ears. The moment Emma's small hands touched him, Buddy opened his eyes and looked directly at her with an expression of such pure gratitude that it took everyone's breath away. For the next 20 minutes, Emma helped with Buddy's bath routine while her parents watched in amazement. Their daughter, who was often shy around new situations, was completely absorbed in caring for this special dog who couldn't walk but somehow radiated more love and peace than any animal they had ever encountered. Emma asked thoughtful questions about Buddy's care, about his daily routine, about whether he ever felt sad about not being able to run. Sarah found herself sharing not just the practical aspects of Buddy's care, but the emotional journey they had been on together. She talked about how he had taught her patience, how his quiet dignity in the face of adversity had inspired her to be more compassionate in all areas of her life, and how their bath time routine had become the highlight of her week. By the time Buddy was clean and dry, nestled comfortably in Emma's arms while she sat on the floor beside his kennel, a decision had been made that would change all their lives forever. The Thompson family didn't just want to adopt a dog that day. They wanted to adopt Buddy, with all his special needs and challenges, because they had witnessed firsthand the incredible capacity for love that existed in his gentle heart. The adoption process took several weeks as the Thompsons prepared their home with ramps, special bedding, and everything Buddy would need to live comfortably. Sarah worked closely with them, teaching them the bath routine that had become so important to Buddy's well-being and happiness. She showed Emma how to position the cushions, how to test the water temperature, and most importantly, how to speak to Buddy during the process so that he felt safe and loved. On the day Buddy went home with his new family, the entire shelter staff gathered to say goodbye. There wasn't a dry eye in the building as they watched Emma carefully carry Buddy to the car, whispering promises about all the adventures they would have together. Sarah felt a bittersweet mixture of joy and sadness, knowing that she would miss their special routine but understanding that Buddy was finally getting the forever home he deserved. 6 months later, Sarah received a video message that brought tears of joy to her eyes. It showed Emma giving Buddy his weekly bath in their home, using the exact same techniques and gentle approach that Sarah had taught them. But what made the video truly special was seeing how happy and content Buddy looked. His tail wagged constantly throughout the bath, and his eyes sparkled with the kind of joy that comes from being truly loved and accepted exactly as you are. The video also showed glimpses of Buddy's new life with the Thompson family. He had a custom wheelchair that allowed him to move around their yard, he attended Emma's soccer games as the team's unofficial mascot, and he had become a therapy dog at the local children's hospital, where his gentle presence brought comfort to young patients facing their own challenges. Emma had also started a social media account documenting Buddy's adventures, sharing their story with thousands of followers who found inspiration in this paralyzed pup's zest for life and the family who chose to see his abilities rather than his disabilities. The account became a source of hope for other families considering adopting special needs pets, showing them that love and commitment could overcome any obstacle. But perhaps the most beautiful part of Buddy's story was how it rippled outward to touch countless other lives. Sarah's approach to caring for paralyzed animals became a model that other shelters adopted, leading to more successful adoptions of special needs pets. The Thompson family became advocates for disabled animals, volunteering at adoption events and sharing their experience with other potential adopters. Emma, now 11 years old, had developed a maturity and compassion far beyond her years through caring for Buddy. She talked about becoming a veterinarian when she grew up, inspired by the difference that proper care and unconditional love could make in an animal's life. Her school friends often visited to meet Buddy, learning important lessons about accepting differences and finding beauty in unexpected places. The bath time routine that had started as a necessity in a shelter kennel had evolved into something much more profound. It had become a symbol of how small acts of kindness, performed with patience and love, could transform lives in ways we never imagined possible. What Sarah had discovered during those early morning sessions with Buddy was that caring for others with genuine compassion didn't just help them heal and thrive, it changed the caregiver as well, opening hearts and expanding capacity for love. As we witness stories like Buddy's, we're reminded that kindness isn't always about grand gestures or dramatic rescues. Sometimes the most powerful acts of compassion happen in quiet moments, in the gentle touch of caring hands, in the patient voice that offers comfort during difficult times, and in the decision to see beyond obvious limitations to the incredible potential that exists in every living being. Buddy's story teaches us that disabilities don't define worth, that love can adapt to any circumstance, and that sometimes the most broken beings among us have the most to teach about resilience, grace, and the transformative power of unconditional acceptance. If this story has touched your heart, please share it with others who might need a reminder that every life has value and that small acts of kindness can create ripples of positive change that extend far beyond what we can imagine. Remember to like this video to help us share more stories of compassion and hope, subscribe to Pure Kindness Stories for weekly inspiration, and most importantly, look for opportunities in your own community to make a difference in the life of someone who needs your kindness. Because somewhere out there, another Buddy is waiting for someone to see past their limitations and discover the incredible love they have to offer. V.